There is an alternative to the GPS. I was unaware of this alternative, and probably I hope you are one of those individuals who is unaware of the alternative. So we are used to the GPS, and there is an alternative which is more precise, which is more accurate, which is more kind of free, and it is from China. It's known as Beidou. So to dive into the history of Beidou, Beidou was an idea which was initially thought to be a good idea in the 1980s, but due to technical issues and also resources, the idea was not fully implemented by the Chinese government. But the Chinese government was forced to fully consider starting their own global positioning system in the 1990s when they were humiliated by the United States government. And how did this humiliation come or happen? So there was a ship. The ship is known as Yene. I believe I pronounced that name appropriately, but if I haven't, just forgive. So this ship was stranded in international waters for 24 days. This is after the United States of America, as it claimed to, they had received an intelligence which was telling them that this ship contained chemical weapons, the weapons which they thought were heading to Iran. So the United States of America forced those neighboring countries within the Gulf, those Gulf countries, not to allow that ship to dock. So this ship was stranded in the Indian Ocean for 24 days in international waters. This is after the GPS system of the ship was jammed. So the United States of America and Saudi guards were allowed to inspect that ship, which they didn't find those new chemical weapons which they were kind of believing that the ship contained, and they never apologized to the Chinese people and the Chinese government. They said they were not going to apologize, they acted in good faith. So this was kind of a huge humiliation for the Chinese people and Chinese government, which forced them to start their own GPS global positioning system, that is the Beidou. So Beidou has been kind of been putting satellites into space since the 2000s, and they put another satellites into the space in 2012, and lastly it was in 2020. But there are a lot of advantages which are associated to Beidou compared to the GPS. One, it's so accurate. It's so accurate to the 1 meter, and the GPS, the global positioning of the United States of America, is accurate within 3 meters. And also this Beidou covers those countries with GPS as not fully covered. The likes of those countries are in the sub-Saharan Africa, South America, and parts of Asia. And this, as we all know, these global positioning systems are normally used in terms of, they can also be used in wars, in guiding intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. They are used for agricultural purposes. They can also be used for in the car driving sector. So they are so essential in those areas. And we can also learn from what happened to Iran recently, a few weeks ago, where the United States of America kind of used their GPS in order to find the places where the Iranian professionals, Iranian scientists, Iranian leadership was, and they ended up assassinating these individuals. So that's why you found that Iranian people decided to be done with the GPS system and embrace Beidou. So what are your thoughts about the Beidou, an alternative of the GPS which the United States provides? Would you embrace this, and is it a good idea to have these two systems as alternatives? Because if one, let's say, which has been existing in the United States of America if they decided to cut you out of that system, you are done. That's also has been the whole issue of the financial system, where the United States of America can decide to get rid of you from the global financial system and you are left stranded. That's why the United States of America has an immense power in terms of giving out sanctions whenever they like. So what are your thoughts about Beidou as an alternative of the GPS? Are you likely going to embrace this global positioning system? Even if I'm kind of referring this because global positioning system is kind of the GPS of the United States. So would you embrace this Beidou of the Chinese people or the Chinese government? I would like your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to subscribe, like. See you in my next one.